Well, in the last couple of moments, we've had word from Iran's mission to the UN saying that Iran stands ready for dialogue, but if pushed, it will defend itself. That from Iran's mission to the UN via the Reuters news agency. Let's talk to our international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn, who joins me now. Dominic, when we spoke to the former Iran ambassador, he was quite pessimistic about the way things are going. What do you make of the events of the last hour or so and these comments from Iran's mission to the UN?
Well, I think the diplomat Nicholas Hopton there, he's right. Obviously, he's pointing out that Donald Trump is waving a big stick, and the hope is that will then pressurise the Iranian regime into making some kind of a deal. Now, Trump has gone from initially threatening action because of the protests, and when they were happening, and these were massive protests, the likes of which we haven't seen in Iran for a number of years, they were eventually crushed brutally by the government using the IRGC, the besieged goons out on their bikes, gunning down mothers, children, shopkeepers, students, young people. Between 5,000 and 30,000 people killed in a brutal crackdown in just a number of days. It's hard to think of any crackdown that has killed that many people in such short a space of time. But that has, for now, put a lid on the unrest in Iran. And at its height, Donald Trump warned the Iranian government not to shoot its own people, and they ignored that and went ahead with that crackdown. Now, he has now moved on, it seems. Now he's got this armada in place, which has moved a massive naval armada from the waters off Venezuela to the Persian Gulf. He's now using that to threaten the Iranians. And the deal he's now looking for isn't so much to do with the protesters or regime change. It seems to be more about doing a deal on Iran's nuclear and missiles program. So he wants an end to all enrichment. He wants the enriched uranium that sort of went missing during Operation Hammer when the Americans and the Israelis hit Iran during the 12-day war. He wants that accounted for, and also he wants the end of any enrichment in the future. Also wants a cap on the missiles produced by Iran. Now, that seems to be what he's pushing for. And it seems to be a bit of a gamble. He's saying, if you give us a deal, do a deal. He says that they want to do a deal. He says they've been reaching out to the White House, asking for a deal, something the Iranians kind of question, but that's what he's claiming. And he's saying, if you don't do that, you're going to get hit with massive strikes. But as Mr. Hopton points out there, it's a very different proposition to Venezuela, where we had, it seemed, Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president, acting on the inside, doing a deal with the Americans so that Nicolas Maduro could be lifted and the American special forces could go in and arrest him. No sign of any kind of deal with factions within the Iranian government. And in Iran, you've got 125,000 IRGC guardsmen who are prepared to fight to the death to protect the Ayatollah. And I think the risk for the Americans is whatever action they take in Iran could just make matters worse. It could force the Iranians to rally around the regime, which is despised and hated, but feel that they need to patriotically support the government there. And it also could lead to massive blowback. The Iranians could attack American allies over the Gulf, in Bahrain and Qatar, the UAE. That could do enormous damage to the oil industry there. That could force up the price of oil that would affect us all, or they could strike Israel. So it's a very different proposition. He's really playing with fire here. It's unclear as to what he really means to do if the Iranians don't play ball and what that could lead to.
And in terms of sending this armada, Dominic, how long potentially could it take for it to get there? I mean, he said help was coming a few weeks ago. And I mean, this is certainly not going to arrive tomorrow, is it?
Well, what he's saying is that it is heading to Iran, moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm and purpose. I mean, it's thought to largely be in the region already, and it's the USS Abraham Lincoln, the aircraft carrier, one of the American Navy's most powerful, but a lot of other naval vessels as well. I mean, it's a considerable amount of firepower. And of course, the Americans have a lot of that already, and they're thought to have reinforced that, sending F-35 and F-15 jets out to their bases in the Gulf from bases across Europe, including in the UK as well. And one of the problems I think we have, Jane, in terms of working out exactly where that carrier group is the Lincoln, at least, has turned off its transponders, so it's impossible to track. That's keeping us guessing as much as the Iranians, but it's certainly, if it's not there already, it's about to get there. So we're reaching sort of crunch time. There's a high noon moment arriving. But the Iranians are very different to one beleaguered Venezuelan dictator who seemed to have been betrayed and abandoned by others around him. As far as we can make out, the Iranian government is still very much a coherent, formidable force, and it's very hard to negotiate with. So we're getting into real crunch time diplomatically. Can some kind of diplomatic deal be struck, or are we going to see the American president gambling and letting loose American firepower on Iran, and then we'll see what that leads to in terms of blowback? The Iranians, I think, in the middle of Tehran, there's a big post that the Iranian government put up saying, if you sow the wind, if you sow the wind, you will reap the whirlwind, and that's certainly the threat that the Iranians are making, and they're kind of, I guess, goading Donald Trump into calling their bluff.
We shall see. Dominic, thank you. Thanks very much.